Hello there my YouTube friends and fans, welcome back to Elden Ring. I am here in the capital city, which I pretty much explored like up and down. But there's this one boss here. There's actually two bosses that I need to fight in order to be able to continue exploring past the city, which is something I just found out. There's no way around it. There's no secret way on the side like with the Stormville Castle or anything like that. You have to beat the two bosses, and I'm thinking, well, one boss is okay, but two is a little much. Because, you know, for a person like me who usually tries to avoid games that have boss fights in it, because I suck at it and I really absolutely hate them, two bosses is a lot. But I am so eager to go and finally find out what's behind the city. There's a whole big map and a big world to explore, with lots more bosses and lots more dungeons and stuff, and I just want to get there. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to do it. I actually came here when I was about rank 50, which is totally under leveled for this kind of boss in this area. But I went in and I just wanted to see. I was like, you know what, I'm not afraid of dying. I made sure I didn't have any runes on me, and this time I have also a lower amount of runes, so it's not too bad if I lose them. In case I, you know, cannot beat them and I just have to give up. But I'm like, I have to be able to do this. Come on, I can do this. Like other people that are not so good were able to beat this boss. And this is actually one of the slower bosses. It's not really, he's not known as one of the most difficult bosses, so I should be able to do it. So, of course, you know, took me about 4 tries here, and you can see how I just totally sucked. I tried different methods. I found out that the raw breath doesn't work because he's a ghost. Obviously that doesn't work. I wanted to try it anyway. I tried different ashes. I tried a couple different weapons. I tried to stay away from him. I tried to stay really close to him, which is another method someone said works if you just stay so close that he can't really hit you. But, you know, he has the stump, and then if you don't see that coming, he gets you really quickly. And even though my, you know, vigor is pretty long, you can see my health bar is super long, which allows me to get hit about a couple times or 3 times before I die. It still wasn't good enough. So I was like, oh my god, I just want to give up. But then I was like, no. Let me try the two-handed approach. Let me warm up a little bit here. I can do this. Let's do it. Come on. I can do it. And I was already exceedingly tired. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning here. And I'm like, I did not think that I'm probably going to do it. But I wanted to at least get him as close to possible to dying finally. And finally find out the method that works for me. Because everyone, you know, you can always say, well, this worked for me, and sometimes that doesn't work for you. You have to kind of find your own way when you try to beat bosses. Whatever works for you, and not everyone has the same weapons, the same strengths, the same, you know, endurance, is not leveled the same, doesn't have the same armor. So whatever works for someone doesn't necessarily work for, like, everyone. You know what I mean? But it's good if you have tips on how to fight a boss, because you can try some of those tips. And I was almost dying there again. Oh my god, there we go again. I have new ashes now. Let's try to see if and they're actually fighting really, they're like the Great Shield War Ashes, I think they're called. And they're doing a pretty good job here to keep him away from me for a little while. And he's almost at half health. But the problem is that the issue I have with him, I got him really good there. For the first time, actually, I got him knocked off his socks. But the problem I really have with this boss is, like, I can stay away from him, but then I never get to hit him. Because if I just roll away from him all the time, then I can't hit him. And that's the big issue, and that's why every time I try to get close to him to get a hit in, he does something that I didn't see coming, and he gets me. And he is already now at like a quarter health, which looks very promising, but I don't have anyone helping me anymore. I'm in this alone now. So I'm like, oh god. And there comes the flying axe, which he sometimes does, not every time. So as much as people say he's predictable, for me, he's not predictable enough. I still feel like whenever I think, oh yeah, here's a window of opportunity, let me go and hit him, he kind of just smacks me with something that I just totally didn't see coming. So I'm just determined to at least get one hit in. I didn't get a single hit in here. I had to run away again. But if you're too much of a distance, you can't do anything. So I'm just being very brave here, getting a couple really good hits in. But he almost killed me there. And only having such a long health bar actually saved me there. And then pressing so many buttons all the time, trying to just focus on him and what I'm supposed to do next. I, for some reason, unequipped my sword, but I didn't know it right away. So I'm thinking I'm hitting him with my sword, but I'm actually hitting him with my fists. Of course, that didn't make any damage and didn't do anything. And I finally realized, and I'm like, darn, I could have just had him right there if I had my sword. I definitely would have had him. So I'm like, oh my god, I cannot mess that up now. Look at his health bar. I have to do it. It takes one hit. I should be able to do it. Come on. And yes, almost thought that he's not dying there, but he did. Thank God. Good grief. Finally, one boss less that I have to worry about. And one step closer to me finally leaving this city. And I got a grace here, so I can now spawn right here, which is awesome. So let's explore this place and see what there is. There's actually some cool loot here. If you run towards this back door here and then here to the left, there's a little room here, which I was like, okay, this room has to have some kind of purpose, right? Is there any hidden doors or anything? I don't think so. No. And then I look up and I see a ladder there that you can kick down, but obviously you have to do that from the top. So how do you get up there? So I'm thinking, okay, there has to be a way to get up there, but how do we get up there? Maybe from over here? Is there another ladder here? No, there's no, but we have some loot here. We have a somber smithing stone 5, actually 3 of them, which is very, very cool. And when you go out the other side from the grace here to the left, you can actually walk up this tree here, which also takes you to the other boss, the next boss that you have to fight. But right now I'm not interested in that because it's late. I have to go to bed, but I'm just so curious to see what's over there. I mean, actually how I get over there. Because I'm sure this is where I have to go in order to get to the top of the ladder, but I don't know how to because I can't jump up this tree trunk. It's way too tall, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm like, there has to be some kind of way to get up this tree or over it or under it. How do I get over there? So I'm like, there is absolutely no way to do that. But look at that. There's something hanging up there and I want it. So the only way I could think of is from the outside, I go around and see that you can actually jump onto that roof. But I have all those runes now from the boss fight, so I want to be rather careful not to die here and then maybe not being able to get my runes back. So I'm a little bit hesitant on being too risky. But I'm also taking in the awesome view here of the capital city, which I've never seen from this side, which is awesome, isn't it? Excuse me about this, but I am such a tourist when it comes to games like this. I like to do a lot of sightseeing. And this city is pretty interesting with this big dragon in the middle, and there's just so much going on in the city. But moving on. So now I'm like, okay, I made it to the other side of this big tree trunk. So I'm on the right path. And what do I see? There is a trunk here. And it's got an earth tree bow inside, and when I look at it, I realize it's not such a great bow. I have one that's already ranked up and way better, but you know, it's still fun to find things. And then here we find a Celestial Dew, which is a really, really rare find and definitely awesome. Don't forget to kick down the ladder if there's any reason you have to come back here. I don't know, maybe later in the game. I have no idea. It never hurts to do it, right? But now I want to get up to this lamp or whatever that is here to get that thing that I saw from the other side. Let's see what we get here. A Golden Order Principal, which is a book that you probably have to hand to someone via a quest or whatnot. So I'm pretty sure this is a really great find. And now that I have this, I don't have to come here later. And so, of course, I'm curious and I want to go and check out where my next boss is before I go to bed. But I won't fight him just yet. And I also want to get that grace that's right up here. And what I didn't know is that you actually get ambushed here by a guy that's really after you. He really wants you dead. I'm just ignoring him so I can finally get that grace. But I have to deal with him, and he doesn't seem to be gone once you actually defeat him. Because I came here, defeated him, and then I came here again and I had to defeat him again. So I don't know what kind of guy that is. He acts kind of like an invader, but he's not an invader. But again, you see there's something that I really want and he doesn't let me have it, so I don't have a choice and defeat him. I guess if you just want to get to the boss fight, you can probably ignore him and just kind of keep running. But since this is not what I want, I just want to go to bed. I'm like, you're super annoying, go away. So I don't want to bore you any longer, but I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe it was helpful to you, maybe not. Leave me a comment if you want, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.